Hello everyone, welcome back to this Siemens SINAMICS S210 Servo Drive motion control series video. And in the previous video, I briefly introduced the hardware of this SINAMICS S210, this medium and high-end servo drive system. And as I introduced, there is one great feature from this S210 servo drive controller. That is the Webpage built-in. Using this built-in Webpage, that's very easy to do the commissioning and do the maintenance for this servo drive. This is far easier than the S120 servo drive system. This is the high-end servo drive system. However, this S210, this is much easier than the S120 servo drive system. Okay, I will show how can we use this built-in Webpage. And in this video, I will use this port, connect from my laptop to this port. This port can be used as the commissioning port or basically for the initial setting. And these two ports, they are perfect night port. And this connector, they are safety digital input and the standard digital input. So this port usually as a spare, especially for the initial setting, we will usually connect to this server drive. And IP address will be the initial default IP address. Okay, let's jump to the web page. We can use Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome. And then we can type in the IP address 169.254.11.22. This is the default IP address via this commissioning port. Okay, and once we type in here as the initial status, if you open box from one brand new server drive, then we will see this page. Initially, this system will ask you to set one password. Default username, that's the administrator. Okay, and for this username administrator, here I will set the password to 123456778. Okay, 123456778. Okay, click OK. Then we set this IP address. And now if I log in administrator and the password 123456778, enter login, then we will log in a web page like this style, and we will see the username administrator here. And from the top area, you will see the alarm. Okay, and here I like to introduce. Let's quickly review the menu, and then let's go to the chapter 11, 11.2.3. This is talking about if we forgot the administrator password, what we should do. This is really tough. Let's show in here. To reset this server drive, the password to the initial, you have to use one empty SD card. And this is the Siemens SD card. You have to use one empty SD card to reset this server drive. So if you really forgot this password, that will be really annoying. So make sure you write down this password to somewhere. And if you look at this picture, if you press this screen, this cover, then you can open this cover, you will see a card slot showing here. Other than the administrator, for the standard user or for the maintenance regular use, you can use another username. That another username does not need the password. That username is SINAMICS. So I can copy this SINAMICS, paste here. And this SINAMICS username does not need the password. We can directly log in. So where this SINAMICS user, you can still watch this alarm at here. And you can also do the parameter checking. For example, for the parameter, you can view the parameters, okay? But you cannot change them. But that's good enough for the regular maintain, for the diagnostic, for the parameter check-in, and for the system license check, for the regular maintain. And also, if you like to check the safety integration function, for example, for the diagnostic, you can still see the code and the timestamp at here. Also, you can see the parameter settings from this safety. But basically, all options here are view only. And this main page is also very useful. So you can see the Telegram and you can see the IP address all showing at here using this default SINAMICS. Okay, again, so let me log out and I will log in the administrator. And the default I set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's log in. And once we log in here, I will show just in a couple minutes, I can spin this motor. Okay, so firstly, we can see we are connecting this commissioning port and it detects there's one PLC connected and the motor, all the cable connected properly. And now we can firstly see the arrow or alarm showing here. We can see the default. Okay, that's because it doesn't have the ProSafe configuration, which is fine. By default, the servo drive does not include the safety. So we can use the Webpage to spin the motor without any safety. So when you spin the motor, you need to be very carefully. But the good thing is, so you can spin the motor for the testing purpose, or you can identify the motion drive direction, especially if your servo motor connect with a gearbox, right? You don't know the mechanical direction, facing the forward or backward. So you can quickly verify this. Some system, if they build in the safety already, without the safety enabled, you can now power on and spin the motor. That's also known in some cases. Siemens drive, by default, the safety is now enabled. So without the safety, you can still spin the motor at the initial status. Okay, then let's go to the commissioning. And we can go to the drive properties. And here we can see, you can set the device name. This drive has one preset name, drive read. I won't change it because as we can see from the video, so this servo drive at the left side is connecting with the right motor. So it named drive read. And here we can set the motor rotation. In case the motor direction or the mechanical direction we define the forward does not match the direction, we can backward this setting, counterclock or clockwise. Okay, so we can leave the default at here. And then to quickly spin the motor or power up the motor to quickly try this hardware connection, we can click this control panel and we can click this, take over this control. Okay, look at this word. Okay, the control is assumed by the control panel. So you need to be very carefully because now you can really turn on the servo drive and you can spin this mechanical, this motor. Okay, let's confirm. And in the meantime, let's listen this noise from the drive. It will be power up. Okay, and by default, without pressing this button, the servo drive will now be powered up till I press this rotate button. Then we can set this speed set point. I can set 60 RPM. That means 1 second it will rotate, 1 revolution. Okay, click OK. And now I will spin. And in the meantime, we can watch this actual speed, RPM, actual torque, and actual current. Especially this actual torque. At the early beginning, maybe some mechanical haven't connected properly yet. So from this torque value, we can verify if this value makes sense, especially while the motor is empty load. So the torque should be very low. Alright, now let's spin. So let's spin, hold this rotate forward. Turn to the right side. Okay, release. And now let's click this backward. In the meantime, we can count the speed. It is running 60 RPM, 1 second, 1 revolution. And if I'm holding this backward, you will see the actual speed, that's the minus. That means the direction. Okay? If I return the control, if now I close this control panel, backward this direction, apply, and go to the panel again, take over the control, and then this time let's hold this forward. So we will see the motor direction will be backward. Okay, this is the hardware-wise backward the motor direction. If I hold this button, now you will see this reverse button will move this motor towards to the clockwise. Okay, your mechanical move forward or backward, that's backward with your definition. Then you can change this definition here. Okay, I'm going to return this clockwise, apply. And let's do it again. Take over the control. Hold. Reverse. Okay, if I set higher, for example, 600, hold, backward, and you will also see the torque. Okay, so this is a very great feature. We just need a minute to turn on this servo drive. As a control, guys, basically once the servo motor can spin, can move, can be powered up, then rest of things is just to do very simple parameter setting, and then you can use the motion controller technology object TO. You can power up and move the drive. You will see this is very convenient, right? Okay, now don't forget, turn off this control. Okay, and close it. So using this web page, you can quickly verify the servo drive, this mechanical power, all those connections, physical connections, if they are correct or not. All right, after spin, then let's slow down. Let's quickly go through all those pages, all those options. So firstly, go back to the main page. So from here, you will see the series number, and this is power, current, and this is rate power, and the motor parameters. Okay, this is 3000 RPM motor. And the totally torque, this is 0.16 Newton torque. Okay, then let's go to this commissioning device properties. This is what we just did, where this control panel, so we can spin the motor. Okay, and tuning, I will use the next video explain this tuning. You will see the tuning here just need one button, so that's very convenient. Okay, next video I will show how can we operate this. Okay, then let's go to the safety integrated, go to the commissioning. So from here we will see from this SINAMICS S210, this servo drive system support very common safety functions, the typical STO, safety torque off, and the safety stop. Also, for example, the safety limit speed, and SBC, the safety brake control, all those typical safety control function, this servo controller support them. So from here we'll see default safety integrated function, this is a none. And once you select the basic or extended function, that means the safety function from this servo drive will be enabled. Once you select them, don't forget cycle power. So default, it will select none safety built-in. So this is very easy for you to spin the motor and test it. Then let's go to the diagnostic. Firstly, that's the message. We will see currently this drive doesn't have the safety. It's waiting for us to initiate the perfect save, this safety function. Okay, so we can temporarily ignore that. And then let's go to the drive status. It is live. It is showing the DC link actual powers. So now if I turn on this drive again, I can see if I spin this motor, I still set 600 RPM. So we'll see those values. They are live value. Okay. And if I'm using the controller, so from here, I will stop it. From here, you will see the status word and the control word. Okay. This depends on the telegram you are using. The typical Siemens telegram, for example, the 105, this is a typical servo control telegram, or the telegram 3. They include control word and the status words. Then let's go to the communication. Where here, we will see if we are using one PLC to communicate with this servo drive S210. So we will see the PZD. The left side, they all control words from the PLC to the servo drive. The right side, they are status from the servo drive to the controller. For example, the right side, that include the G1 XI ST1. This area are used for the encoder. So we will see it has value at here. Basically, that means this servo motor is connecting an encoder. Okay, and we can quickly verify this. I can take over the control and spin this encoder. You will see the encoder is changing. Okay. Click backward. Okay, here, this is the encoder value. Okay, close it. And we will also see this status word. If the motor is running, so the motor will transfer the status to the PLC. Okay, this is very useful. You found, okay, why I send the command, but why the servo drive cannot spin, cannot power up. Then in some cases, you can monitor the bit or the command word from this screen, and for the commissioning and for the troubleshooting purpose. So this is the diagnostic. Then let's go to the parameters. Parameters, the limits are very useful. So this diagram are very clear. For example, depends on your application. If we click the speed limit, so firstly we can go to this maximum speed. Some cases we really do not need the motor run very fast speed. For the safety, for the application, for the mechanical, so we can limit the maximum speed to a certain value. For this drive is set in 8,000, we can decrease this speed. Or some cases the torque, maybe some torque, the default value is too high. Then we can set this is the positive direction and this is the negative direction. Okay, and then let's go to this torque current limits. So we can also set the torque limits. This is the torque setting. And then let's go to the brake. So the brake at this page is very clear. Okay, let's look at this diagram here. So the first line, this is the power up command. Once we power up from this dash line here, then after this opening time, 100 milliseconds setting here, the brake will be released. Then we will see after the brake released, so you have a speed. Okay, then you can spin the motor and do the work. And once we stop the motor, so at this dash line here, we turn off the motor power. So once we turn off the motor power by the inertia, so the motor maybe still spin, the speed slow down. Then we need to look at this threshold here. The threshold will monitor the actual speed. So once the speed lower than this threshold, and then it will monitor this closing time, and then the brake will turn on to hold the motor. So some cases you will see the relay or the brake burn out very soon. That's because somehow this threshold 20 RPM may be too high. Okay, because sometimes the motor by high inertia is still spinning. Then you turn on the brake. That causes the brake at the end of the motor that burn out very soon. Okay, somehow you need to monitor this according to your application. Okay, this is the brake. This diagram is very useful. Then let's go to the inputs. So as I introduced from the X130, the X130 is this connector here. So this connector totally has 12 channels. So the 12 channel left side, they are used for the safety. Right side, they are used for the digital input. Okay, so we will see the digital input. So when I click here, it points to their safety. Okay, you can click in and then it jumps to this safety setting. Okay, let's click back. And those are the digital input for the servo drive, especially if you are going to use the measurement input. This is the faster input, so we can register the encoder inside the servo drive. This is the much faster doing by the PLC. Okay, from here you can define and configure this measuring sensor input or backward the logic. Okay, input 4, we can see the temperature monitor for the external brake resistance. Okay. Okay, the configuration are quite straight. And then let's go to the parameter list. So the parameter list, firstly reading the servo motor from the motor to this servo drive it totally automatically. Basically, all those parameters automatically identify the server motors it is connected. So we will see all those parameters here. Okay. Also, you can click this advanced view. From this ID, you will see the number showing here. Okay. For example, this active power actual value, you will see this. All the R parameter, they are reading parameter. Okay, they are will only. And all the setting parameter, they are P parameter. So from this parameter list, you can group them and set some important parameters. For example, for the communication, so you can especially focus on the communication parameters. Okay, or for the quick commissioning parameters, so you can wheel all those values from the motors: rate current, rate power, rate speed. Okay, and the maximum speed, ramp down, those time setting, all those ramp down this time. Okay, for the off 1 or off 3. So once we shut down the power, so how fast speed the motor will stop. So those parameters are used for this. So parameter is very useful. And then let's go to the backup store. This is very useful. So at the end of the project, you definitely want to back up the drive parameters in case one day the drive failed or change to a new controller. Then you can literally use the backup file, do the restore here. And to back up this server drive, I can click this backup parameters. And I can click this open file. And you will see this zip file includes 2 files inside. You do not need to unzip that. You can rename, for example, backup underscore this server drive red. So store this file to somewhere. So if one day this server drive has something wrong, so you can browse this file and click this restore. Okay. Here, this is also important. Firstly, we can read this message here by resetting the factory set. All the parameters of the drive will be reset to factory settings. So as shown here, the motor, once the motor is connected, it will be automatically configured. Okay, this is very useful. Click this restore factory settings. But keep in mind, this is based on the assumption that you log into this web page already. Again, the password is very important. Then the last thing is this system. Firstly, system setting. Here, there are very important settings. Firstly, let's go to the IP connections. I highly recommend you can enable this. So enable access to the web server via the Perfect port. If you recall, now I'm connecting this port. This port is only used for the commissioning. This web page, you will see there's no place to modify this IP address. That's because this port is only used for the commissioning. So definitely we like to browse this web page either from this port or from the Perfect. So that's why I highly recommend you enable this selection. So this allows you to use the Perfect port, also can browse this web page. That time the IP address will change to the Perfect IP address. Okay, so enable this selection. Don't forget, click this apply. And then the drive, date and time. I also recommend you select the time according to your local time. This will be used for the alarm system. So this is also easy for you to diagnose when it happened. So what's going on from your drive system. Date and time, IP setting. So I highly recommend select this. And then user account, you will see if you don't like someone can see the SINAMICS user, so you can check off this. But I highly recommend leave those as a default. Even they are not able to set the parameters, they can still view the setting. So the SINAMICS, this username is also very useful. Okay. Then every time you set something, don't forget click the apply setting. And also I will personally like to click this save. Okay. Okay. And then let's look at the lessons and the firmware. So firstly, let's go to the firmware. So the firmware is a place allows you to upgrade the server drive. For example, some cases Siemens will release a better firmware. It upgrade the features or solve some bugs. Browse the firmware file and upgrade this server drive. For example, the latest firmware, that's the version 5.2 SP3. HF11. Then the last thing, that's the license. So basically, the only things you need to check out, that's the license in case you need the safety integrated extended functions. So for example, the SLS or some other high-end safety features. So if we go back to the safety setting, and if we select the basic, so you will see the basic safety, that's the STO and SS1. Okay, but if you do need some extended features, for example, the SLS or the SBT or the SSM, this is safe speed monitoring. So those features need a license. So we need to license this hardware. The license will be stored into this server drive. And if you do need the extended safety function, then you can connect Siemens, purchase the license, and they will guide you how to license this hardware. Basically, we went through all those options. Again, this web page is very useful. So whatever which page you add, once you go to this control panel, then you can take over this server drive, and you can spin the motor and rotate this drive, and also meantime watch the status from this server motor. Okay, go to the diagnostic and go to the drive status. Okay, once you spin the motor, you will see the actual status. They are changing. All right, this is the web page for the SINAMICS S210. It's very useful. In next video, I will show how can we use the tuning function to tune this servo motor. It's very useful, very quick. All right, see you in next video. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumb up. If you like to watch more videos in my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you for watching.